My dear readers and listeners, 2025, my reflections and looking ahead. Folks, what a year it's been. But when I look back at 25, perhaps in hindsight, it's not been quite as bad as what I feared it might have been at the end of 2024. Or perhaps the dystopian agenda has simply been delayed. Perhaps some of what we sensed is still waiting for us, but in 2026. There was talk of global war. There was talk of a major financial collapse. Maybe it's just been postponed. Maybe it's been pushed forward a bit. Time will tell. This year, I've been trying to practice stoicism. And when I say stoicism, I don't mean emotional detachment or indifference. I mean learning to focus on what is truly within my control. To meet whatever comes without panic or resentment. To not get excited and fazed by the latest headline and the latest bit of news. To understand that hardship is not punishment, but instruction. That every challenge carries a lesson. And that growth begins when we stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this here to teach me? By that measure, 2025 has been quite an extraordinary year. It's also been a deeply artificial one. We've had fake assassinations, fake narratives, fake outrage, fake false flags. Alongside the theatre, there are things that are undeniably real. The long tail of lockdowns and the pandemic is now being felt by all of us. The cost of lockdown. Economies across much of the Western world are under tremendous strain. The financial Ponzi scheme keeps limping on, but it is now a zombie on life support. Inflation is far higher than official numbers suggest. And as for democratic processes, well, they're still being hollowed out. And if we're going to be honest, it is clear that most of the West is now undergoing a slow and deliberate, controlled demolition. What about the injections? Well, they carry on, they continue. Accountability does not. Politicians lie openly and repeatedly and without consequence. And it's become clear to me, like never before, that politics is not the solution. There are no saviors coming through the doorway. Against that backdrop, the podcast has continued to grow. I published 146 episodes this year, most with new voices, and some with returning guests, people like Alex Creel and Meredith Miller, wonderful human beings. In fact, Meredith Miller's latest podcast was just released, and I believe that this conversation that I had with her is one of the most important podcast episodes I've ever recorded. She is truly a soul sister. My Substack readership has doubled. It has gone from 9,000 at the beginning of the year to 18,000 now, and I'm deeply grateful for that. At the same time, I've lost around a third of my paid subscribers across Substack and Spotify, making a difficult time even harder. Some of you have reached out to me saying that the subscription was cancelled or stopped for some reason, and did I do that? I can assure you it wasn't me. But I don't see this as me being targeted. I don't know entirely what's going on, but I think for the most part it reflects the reality of what many of us are facing. The fact is, times are hard. People are stretched, subscriptions add up, and supporting independent voices is becoming more difficult. I get that. At the beginning of the year, I set myself 4 goals. I was going to write my book, Doc Malik's Simple Guide to Good Health. I was going to organize some retreats. I was going to launch my consultation service. And I was going to possibly create some courses. I only achieved 2 out of the 4, and I'm at peace with that. The 2 retreats I ran in April and June were genuinely beautiful, full of honesty, laughter, vulnerability, and connection. The people who attended were just the most beautiful human beings, and I'm blessed to have met them and to have gotten to know them. And we're still in touch with our little private signal groups. It taught me something very, very important, those retreats. We are truly living through a pandemic of disconnection. More than information, people crave authenticity, presence, eye contact, real conversations, being seen and being heard, being able to speak freely without judgment or fear, not having to hold back. So the 2 retreats in 2026, in June and August, will again be centered on connection, personal connection, group connection, and connection at a wider societal level. I will hopefully be launching those in February, so stay tuned. I also launched my consultation service this year. It was clear to me that a lot of you are suffering from poor sleep, chronic fatigue, difficulty losing weight, lack of energy, health issues, and not getting much help from the established sick care system. And oftentimes you're struggling to navigate it. So it's been one of the most fulfilling things I've done this year, to use not only what I learned in medical school, but what I've also learned over the last few years to help people reclaim their health and navigate the sick care system with clarity and confidence. And yes, it's helped offset some of the financial loss from the loss of subscribers. But far more importantly, I love helping people. The messages and feedback I receive afterwards tells me that real change is happening. And that matters to me deeply. I've now also properly begun to write my book, thank goodness. And I think everything happens for a reason, because things have come to my knowledge, to the forefront of my mind, which I didn't know about a year ago. And now I've started to incorporate that into my book. And I'm aiming to finish it within the next 2 months and publish it in the spring, and possibly follow it with a local national book tour, and a course. Who knows? I might even end up going to Australia, New Zealand, or maybe the States. I don't know. Anything's possible. Those are the plans for 2026. But as we all know how plans work, man plans, life decides, and God laughs. And I'm at peace with that too. This year was also personally challenging from a health point of view, not just financially. Emotionally, it was quite difficult. I was recovering from a severe ankle sprain at the turn of the year. When that was slowly getting better, I then ended up getting 2 disc prolapses in my neck. That took a further 6 months to recover. Those months, I can honestly tell you, were some of the darkest in my life. I had to stop the podcast for a while. The pain was just too intense. But it taught me something. It taught me something very essential, and that was the necessity for rest. And the truth is, for 2 years, I'd been working like a crazy person on the podcast, hadn't taken a single day off. And I often would tell people that I was working harder podcasting than I had ever done as a consultant surgeon. And trust me, that's the truth. I'm now building rest into my life deliberately. I'm going to have 2 weeks off at spring, 2 weeks off at summer, and 2 weeks off at Christmas time. And when I say 2 weeks off, I also lock my phone away and detox myself from digital social media influences. Even this episode has been pre-recorded and scheduled to be published when I'm on my detox and rest period. I also celebrated my 50th birthday this year. And in a way that I've never celebrated a birthday before. I was surrounded by people who travel from far and wide. We shared food, laughter, stories, hugs. It was nourishing for the soul. I've not had many birthday gatherings in my life. I mean, I probably can count them on one hand. So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who came along. It meant a great deal to me. But it also planted a seed. Perhaps I need to organize more live events, more lunches, more dinners, more spaces for people to come together and connect. I know a lot of you feel alone and don't have loved ones or friends or work colleagues that are on the same page. I get that. I've been there and it's not nice. And even today and this year, sometimes I do feel quite lonely, and then I have to reach out to the people that are close to me. So maybe that's something I need to work on. And looking ahead, the podcast is booked solid until March. There are no shortage of guests, which tells me there's a lack of truly authentic podcasters out there. Too many podcasters seem to recycle the same guests, the same voices. And there are so many important people out there who haven't got the presence or the following or the large accounts, but they need to be heard nonetheless. And I urge you to carry on doing what you're doing, which is to message me, to email me, and suggest people to me. I don't read the news. I don't watch the TV that much. I really get most of my information from you. So thank you. Many of my guests tell me off air, sometimes on air, but mainly off air, that everything I've lived through, my medical training, my consultant years, my life experiences, were all in preparation for this path right now, for this role that I'm living at. And you know what? I've come to truly believe that as well. I have long, honest conversations, and I love that. I love helping people open up. I love seeing the person behind the mask. And I truly believe every one of us has incredible stories to tell. And I'm on a continual journey of discernment and discovery, trying to understand what is real and what is an illusion, what is true and what is not. Oftentimes, it's easier to tell what's not true than really get to the truth. That childlike curiosity has never really left me. You know, that constant questioning. Why? How? What's really going on? And at the same time, I feel more at peace than I ever have. I'm no longer chasing material things like I used to as an orthopedic consultant surgeon. I want to grow spiritually. I want to become a better human being. I want to serve humanity. And I don't live in fear anymore. And when I look back, there were so many things I was fearful of. I don't live in fear, I live in gratitude. And I'm aware that voices like mine are a threat to the systems that are currently in place. Independent voices are up against a tsunami of official narratives, institutional messaging, and relentless propaganda. In many respects, people like me are considered dangerous. Not because we incite harm, physical harm, but because we encourage people to think. We encourage people to question and to trust their own discernment. We empower people. My mission is to inform, educate, and empower you, the listener, to give you confidence, to believe in yourself, and to realize that you ultimately are going to save yourself. And if you feel called to support what I do, whether by subscribing, sharing the work, donating, or simply sending a kind message, please know it genuinely makes a difference. Independent voices only exist because people like you choose to support them. And I never, ever take that for granted. As we move forward, I know that the coming years will be more turbulent. 2026 is already being framed as a year of upheaval and disruption. Like I said, perhaps this is the year of the financial crash, the cyber attack, the year the internet goes down, a massive assassination, real or fake, perhaps further escalation in world conflicts, a war in Russia. And you know, I choose not to live in fear. And I invite you to do the same. Do not live in fear. Do not live in despair. We are living through a momentous period in human history, and we are on the side of right. That is not a burden. That is a privilege. We are the torch bearers. We are the light bearers. We shine light onto the darkness. And in doing so, we help others remember who they are and to find their path. Darkness never wins forever. There is always balance. For every moment of confusion, despair, and heaviness, there's also beauty, joy, love, and hope. That is our purpose. To live in the light. To be beacons of love, gratitude, and joy. To remind others of what it means to be truly alive. What it means to be human. We choose not to be automatons. We choose not to live in a captive mindset. We choose not to see ourselves as victims and powerless and helpless. We are eternal spiritual beings, and the divine lives within us. We are magnificent. We are awesome. We are powerful. We are sovereign. We are free. You could cage me tomorrow in solitary confinement. I can tell you right now, I would be more free than my prison guard. So I step into 2026 hopeful, curious, with a quiet confidence and a wry smile on my face. And I will meet you there with love. Thank you for everything. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Just thank you for being you. Love, Dr. Malik.